Mr. Clerk, the time is 6 p.m. on Monday, November 18th, 2024. I'd like to call this Budget Committee meeting to order. The town acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands in which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nations community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923, a shared understanding of how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Council, may I please have a motion to approve the revised agenda? Councillor Weiss, Councillor Kim, any comments or questions with regards to the agenda? Seeing none. Sorry, we use these grab your hands. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Councillor Weiss?
Yes, I'm going to declare indirect pecuniary interest in the issue of Sport Aurora and their delegation. That's at the end of the meeting, so I'll not be participating in the conversation nor the vote.
Thank you very much. Any others? Seeing none, we have one delegation this evening. Ms. Phiona Durrant, Aurora Black Community Association. I don't see her at the moment. Perhaps council, with your willingness, we'll just hold off on delegations. We'll move into the considerations of normal items, and then if Ms. Rant makes it this evening, we'll put her in at that time. Everyone seems fine. That's great. Okay, moving on to consideration of items. First up, Central York Fire Service. Presenting will be Fire Chief Rocco Volpe, CYFS, and Andrea Tang, Director of the Financial Services for the town of Newmarket. Welcome, Chief Volpe and Ms. Tang. And whoever else you'd like to introduce.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, this is not Andrea Tang. This is to my left is Platoon Chief Dan Waters. Dan Waters has been seconded for the last 7-8 months with Central York Fire Services. His background is in operations, and he's helping me this year navigate through some operational issues. So thank you, Chief Waters. Just as a mentoring component, Chief Waters is just going to be here presenting the 2025 operating capital budget with me. And of course, we have Andrea Tang in the audience. Acting Mayor, good evening, members of council. It's my pleasure to present the Central York Fire Services proposed 2025 operating and capital budget. Thank you, before I get started, to the Aurora finance teams, Andrea Tang and Rachel Van Kessel, for their assistance with the budget presentations and preparations. The slide that you see in front of you is a slide that simply simplifies what I call the 5-step process in our budget preparation. Newmarket Council sets the budget guidelines, as most of everyone knows. Newmarket Finance staff works with Central York Fire Management to draft the budgets. Our third step is the budget is then presented and reviewed by JCC, which occurred on October 1. Our fourth step is, which brings us to today, to the presentation to the Aurora Council for comment. And our fifth step is basically finally Newmarket Council approves the budget. For our next slide, the CYFS operating budget is based on a 10-year forecast. There was no change to the shared service allocation. Aurora's percentage remains at 41.69% for 2025, and that status quo as it was in 2024. Capital budget was prepared with efforts to identify future year spending for ongoing projects. In this slide here, you will see the table in front of you. Starting with the operating, the incremental increase is based on the 10-year forecast. The increase is broken into 3 categories, which are base, growth, and contributions to our asset management fund, formerly referred to as ARF. The base increase includes wages and benefits and any increases to expenditures. The growth allocation is being suggested for deferral again this year until the approval of the CYFS strategic plan, known as the Fire Master Plan. An asset management contribution is based on the 10-year forecast. The net increase proposed for 2025 for the operating budget is $768,840. As you can see in the slide, the total increase, as I mentioned, is $768,840, with Aurora's share being $320,529. So I'll allow you a moment to look at that slide and see what that equates to in a percentage. And it also shows you the allotment for Newmarket. On this slide here, I present to you our 2025 wages and benefits. Further details on the operating increase allocation is also shown in this table. Wages and benefit increases are in accordance with the current collective agreement. As you can see, 84% of CYFS's total budget is wages and benefits. The next slide that I'm going to show you breaks down some other operating budget line items that you will see increases and decreases. And to the far right, you'll see what that is in a percentage. I'm going to ask PC Dan Waters if he would like to take the mic. PC Waters works on these budgets on a day-to-day basis, so he would kind of know all the ins and outs. So I'll allow him the mic, and maybe you can explain further on the increases and decreases.
Thank you, Chief. So if we're just going to delve into this a little bit deeper. So if you look at it, some of the increases are in vehicle, buildings, and equipment replacements being suggested for increases. This is mainly due to the inflationary pressures and contract price increases. Our water budget has also increased. One of the big drivers of that is that a lot of our training with the new station at Station 4-5 involves flowing water. So obviously we're going to go through a lot more water at the station. The training budget has been increased as well. The trend has been for it that it has increased. And one of the drivers of that is that we need to meet mandatory firefighter certification training by 2026. And so this is the preparation work that we have to do. The asset replacement fund has also increased, as mentioned, in accordance with the 10-year plan. The support costs increase is for our shared costs with human resources, payroll, accounting, procurement, legal, and communication. Finally, you should also notice that some of the budget lines have been reduced. It was mainly due to previous year's spending trends and to help with allocation to budget lines that are experiencing more cost pressures. Once again, you'll see the net increases to our operating budget is $768,840. This brings the total CYFS operating budget to $32,104,739.
On this slide here, we've prepared for you our 2025, 2026 capital budgeting. You will see a list of a variety of projects that we are anxious to get going into 25, into 26, in hopes that we are able to meet our budget approvals. I'll quickly go through some of them that might pique some interest. You will see there one capital item for a fire aerial truck. That truck is known as 427. 427 is a 2012 fire apparatus. It's coming up to its end expectancy, in the sense being a first run aerial. So what we do is we run our first run trucks for about 15 years. And then after that, we put them in reserve status for an additional 5 years. So the vehicle has a lifespan of 20 years. You're probably wondering, we're still 2 years out for that. Reports and working with different truck vendors and attending conferences, we're getting reports that a truck build is now taking in about 24 months. So it takes about 2 years by the time you place the order and finish up the procurement process to receive one of the fire apparatus. So CYFS is asking for the request in 2025. So we would be able to do the procurement process, go out for bid, and obtain delivery in 2027. You will also see another piece there, the training building. It is there at 1.8 million. As you could see, that was that ECHO announcement, that skills development fund that we received for 865,000. And because I heard that beep, I will continue on and wrap things up. But in case you want to ask any other questions, that comes to the end of the presentation. Deputy Mayor, through you to council, if there's
Just
any questions.
Simple chair this evening, not deputy mayor, just simply
Nope.
chair. But certainly
chair.
thank you, Chief and Mr. Waters, for being here and for recognizing that beep. Means you've been here a few times. You know what it's all about. Council, can I get a motion to receive? Councilor Gilliland, Councilor Gardner, any comments or questions for the chief? Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. No questions, just comments. Just want to say thank you very much for coming today and showing us your presentation. Obviously, I'm privy to that a little bit more so than my fellow council mates. And I think you guys are doing a great job, and you are being very proactive, obviously, with the aerial truck. So I do appreciate the explanation on that for everybody to understand. And obviously inflation, obviously, if we were to wait a couple more years, it would be even more. And so I think it is very proactive on our part. And I was also grateful that you did mention the $865,000 grant that was recently announced this October from Don Gallagher Murphy. Obviously, that's going to be a really great addition to the budget for this training center that we definitely wanted to have here. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilor Gilliland.
Councilor.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much both for being here. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have the Aurora Historical Society Board. Presenting will be Jeffrey Daw, former mayor and co-president and treasurer of the Aurora Historical Society, along with Alan Lambert. And is Kathleen joining you as well? But hey, no. That's fine. No more worries.
Great.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair and councilors. Great to see you. All
Actually, if you want to just lift the microphone up a little bit so we can hear you. You're a little bit taller
How's
than
that?
Keith Volpe.
How's that?
Thank you.
Chair and councilors, great to see you again this year, and all the members of the town that help us on a day-to-day basis. We're pleased to be with you tonight, and I think our entire board is with us tonight. So we thank them for coming. So this is our annual report to the town. just to keep moving. Background for everyone, most are very familiar with the Aurora Historical Society. We own and operate the historical building and National Historic Site of Hillary House here in Aurora. We're always proud of our national treasure, and again we submit to you that we've done our absolute best this year to both hold strong with keeping the lights on, keeping things running, and making sure that we have great programming and opportunities for those of us as citizens of Aurora and those who are visiting Aurora to enjoy our past and present and hopefully our future. So our background is that we always promote heritage. We provide programming of all sorts, indoors and outdoors, to a variety of audiences and different demographics of the town of Aurora. Again, our mission in terms of preserving, interpreting, promoting social, cultural, and heritage of the community stays strong, and it's something that we as a board on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, and shout out to Kathleen Vahi, our curator, holds that true to her mandate and that of all our staff and volunteers. So we continue to stay strong in terms of our mandate, in terms of being a pretty important foundation of the Aurora community, etc. So we hold strong, we stay strong, and we continue to continue that mandate every meeting and every day. In terms of the highlights of 2024, Jeff will go into a little bit more detail, but lots of programs, lots of different things. We hold high teas, we hold Mother's Day teas, we have harvest teas, which are extremely popular with the community. Typically sold out. It's a big event. Lots of volunteers to help us out. We have Girl Guides, we have Scout groups, we have school groups coming by. We also had what's called, and these are Kathleen's notes, so I'm doing my best, a slow museum tour this year, which was something that she had thought of, and it was not rushing people through Hillary House, letting people just sort of at their own pace, guided as we had guides around, but letting people just kind of enjoy the property, enjoy all the historic artifacts, etc., just sort of on their own time. So that was something that we do. Again, shout out to Kathleen as having a great idea. The other thing that in terms of collections, and I think we spoke to you about this last year, we had been housing in a storage unit the Godfrey collection, which I'm pleased to say we then patriated to Hillary House and went through a total of 21,268 items within that Godfrey collection. So every single item had been gone through, was noted. And Kathleen's been working with University of Toronto, other libraries, just to kind of see where the best place for some of the items are. There was a lot of things that at the end of the day weren't of a historic value, either a book or something that was a copy, etc. But there were some treasures in there and a few odd stories to go with some of those treasures. But we're pleased to say in this year, and we had a grant to kind of help us with a couple of co-op students, literally poured through, I think it was 140 boxes of the Godfrey collection. So that was a big achievement this year. In terms of exhibitions, and again, we partner, I think, with the Cultural Center, etc. We had a couple of exhibitions with the Odd Fellows, etc., the archives. So that was, again, we sort of keep going and trying to do a few different things. Fundraising down from other years. You sort of can't hide that. We applied for and were granted a permit to work with the Bingo Hall in Richmond Hill to do a little bit of fundraising for us in the coming years. Again, that will be totally done by volunteers. I think it's every month or a couple of months, just to bring in some money and do something a little bit different on the fundraising front. Jeff, I think I'm handing over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Al, and good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Budget Committee. It's a pleasure to be here. I think I'm finally getting used to this side of the microphone. As Al mentioned, Kathleen is sick, so she sent me her notes, and I will try and do justice to those. She's watching, so she will let me know tomorrow how well I did. So our next slide talks about the goals and how we did with that. We had planned for 30 programs. We were actually able to implement 45 programs with 7 remaining for this year. We had 2 presentations or 2 exhibitions, pardon me, and we met that goal. We had looked to provide 30,000 hours of volunteer opportunities, but we are still challenged with our volunteer pool. And unfortunately, we only managed to get 1,100 volunteer hours this year. We are still looking at ways to improve our volunteer engagement. We did welcome 1,300 people to Hillary House, and we're pleased to welcome. We had looked forward to welcoming 1,300 people to Hillary House, and we were pleased to welcome 720, but we still have several opportunities remaining for the rest of the year. Educate community members through outreach. We participated in 20 outreach programs and engaged with over 900 people. And one of the programs that we recently attended was the volunteer fair. And out of that volunteer fair, we actually managed to engage a couple of families, and as well as the multicultural fair, to come forward. And they came out and helped us with our cleanup day a couple of weeks ago. So we were very pleased to have that happen. Educate members of the community through outreach programs. We participated in 20 outreach programs and engaged slightly over 900 people. And explore new and exciting fundraising revenue opportunities. As Al just mentioned, we are now a member of the Richmond Hill Bingo Association. And we actually did our first bingo towards the end of October. And it's an interesting way to raise funds. It's what happens is that there's, of all the charities that are organized, they split the money that happens with all the bingo sessions. We all get allotted an equal portion based on the number of based on the number of bingos that we actually manage. So we did that one, which will net us slightly over $3,000, which is big money for us, I'll tell you. That was great. And so we are obviously always looking for more opportunities to do fundraising. May I slide 6, please? These are our key performance indicators. We had 9,293 followers in 2021, 20,677 engagements in 21. That has been dropping slightly as we have changed our programs away from being virtual. So as we were going through the COVID experience, many of our programs were virtual. Some of our engagement has dropped off from that, but we still have a fairly solid level of engagement, and we are always looking for ways to improve that. And one of the ways we do that is our speaker series is now hybrid. So you can either attend at Hillary House or you can dial in online. And we have people from as far away as the East Coast who are attending those. So we're pleased with that, and we're looking at ways to increase that as well. Slide 7, please. Our ongoing challenges: fundraising, volunteer engagement, meeting Hillary House's critical maintenance and restoration needs in a timely fashion, and restoration funding. And some of you may have seen the article that was in Aurora today. We were interviewed, Kathleen and I were interviewed last week by Bailey Morton, and a nice story in Aurora today, and also Newmarket today on some of the challenges we face and some of the hopes that we have to get through that. Slide 8, please. Partnership, the Chamber of Commerce, the Cultural Center, the Museum and Archives, the Oddfellows Lodge, the Public Library, the Senior Center, Sports Hall of Fame, Aurora Today, Garden Aurora, Neighborhood Aurora, the other Ontario museums, the Richmond Hill Charity Association, as we've mentioned, the Royal Rose Art Gallery, the Aurora newspaper, and of course, the town of Aurora, who is our major partner. And for that, we're very appreciative.
Jeff, I'm just going to pause you right there for a second. Council, can I get a motion to extend? Councillor Gallo, Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Thank you. You know the drill.
I should have requested that at the start, right? So we're very, very pleased with the partners that we have managed to grow and maintain over the years. As we look forward to our next slide, please. Thank you. As we look forward to our hold on here. Now I'm sliding into my part of the program. And so this is really just a definition sheet of our 4 major sources of incomes. So operations, those would be admissions. We have our gift shop, we have membership purchases, we have rental programs, events, and advertising. Donations from our generous community. We actually had a very generous donation from a longtime member this past year. Fundraising, still a challenge. We are with Bingo World, we're looking again always for opportunities to increase that fundraising. And grants, of course, the town of Aurora is our major funder. We get the Community Museum Operating Grant, which is from the Ontario government. Canada Summer Jobs, which is a targeted grant, and that is for 2 summer interns. And then the Young Canada Works, and as Al mentioned, the work that we did on the Godfrey collection, the Young Canada Works funded that person who came in and cataloged those thousands and thousands of items in the Godfrey collection. Next slide, please. So this slide is slightly different from what we've shown in previous years in that we included not only our 2024 budgeted, but our projected. And I'm pleased to report that all our sources of income have gone up in the past year and that our expenses have gone down. So we probably should not be crowing about the fact that our deficit is only $27,000, but we had actually projected a $47,000 deficit this year. So we are pleased with that. And you'll see that for our 2025 forecast and 2026 forecast, we are actually projecting a small surplus. We achieved that by some serious cost cutting in terms of staff. It was painful to do, but necessary. So we are looking for ways because it's always a challenge. Additional staff take on some of the workload, bring in some new ideas, but trying to fund that was a challenge that we simply could not meet. So we are looking for ways to be able to improve on that over the next year. And ideally, the bingo will give us some of that opportunity to take up that slack. May I have the next slide, please? We would like to recognize our volunteers, our board of directors. Our board of directors is all here this evening. Up in the back, we have Dan McGowan, John Green, who you know from the Heritage Advisory Committee, and our other director, Michelle Primo, is actually on her way over from work. She was caught up in the traffic getting over from work. Garden Aurora, great volunteer. Donna Lewis comes over and does just an absolutely terrific job on our grounds, as do 2 of our members, John and Marjorie Bear. John sends me pictures almost on a weekly basis of the things he's done. The last one was the Christmas tree and the sleigh out the front with all sorts of presents. So I'm hoping that I'm not on the naughty list. Programs and events. We do. We've got, I think, some very interesting programs, and some of the ones that I really enjoy are when Ted Barris comes in, and Ted Barris is an author. He's written extensively on Canadian history, especially military history. He's got, I think, something like 15 or 20 books. And if you're interested at all in Canadian history, I urge you to either pick up one of his books or attend one of his talks. He is really a fascinating speaker. Our collections and our maintenance folks. So we do very much appreciate our volunteers. Next slide, please. Our 2025 goals, we plan to implement approximately 30 programs and special events. We're going to present 2 exhibitions. We have one on right now with the Oddfellows of Aurora. provide over 2,000 hours in volunteer opportunities. We've lowered that from last year, recognizing the challenges there. We're still looking at welcoming around 1,300 visitors to Hillary House. Continue to educate members of the community through our outreach programs and explore new revenue and fundraising avenues. We're constantly doing that. And as a matter of fact, the bingo suggestion came from when we had our special members meeting earlier this February. It was a suggestion from one of the members. So that was a great one that Kathleen picked up and did all the organizing on. Next slide, please. So the feedback from the community, which I cannot read from here. And I don't have the slide in front of me, but of course we only put up positive ones. Well, I get to tailor some of this, right? And that is it. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. Mr. Lambert. Council, can I get a motion to receive for information? Councillor Gardner, Councillor Gallo, any comments or questions to either presenter? Councillor Gardner.
I'm in sympathy. We had to run a bingo twice a month for hotspot. It's hard, and to get the volunteers to come out, and you're already having trouble with volunteers, but it's a good opportunity. Hopefully it will be for you. They don't give up those bingo spots very easily.
The bingo. So years ago, Councillor Gardner, thank you for the question. To you, Mr. Chair. I was involved in the Rotary Club, and we did a bingo down at the building across from the fire hall. And we had to get volunteers from the Rotary Club to go and do that every week. So you were on every fourth or fifth week, depending on how many people showed up. That has changed substantially. So our volunteer requirement is we have 2 people who go, and the rest is all staffed by paid people from the environment, because I presume they probably ran into the same situation in the bingo halls in terms of getting people there on a regular basis to do the work.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Oh, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. I still have nightmares about bingo. Honestly. And you have to
volunteer for old time's sake. You're more than welcome.
Oh, but I know it's a labor of love. I've sat here for 21 years, and everybody who's involved with Hillary House needs to be thanked, because there's a lot of work, there's a lot of care, there's a lot of worry about it, a lot of, repair issues. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Weiss.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you for coming forward again tonight. I was looking over the financial statements and wondering about those great years in 2021, 2022, where you had a significant amount of donations, fundraising, and some grants that have tailed off. Can you tell me a little bit about those golden years of 2021, 22 that makes them so special and
Mr. Duff.
unusual? Through you, Chair.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I should remember that, right? Through you, Mr. Chair. In 2021, we had the Hillary House Ball. So that was on the revenue side substantial. And we also had a golf tournament, and we had a Scotch tasting, both of which were very successful. And in 22, we just had the Scotch tasting. We tried to run a golf tournament. We did not get sufficient people out for the golf tournament.
Councillor Weiss.
Yeah, thank you. And in 2024, I see that there's nothing in restoration costs, and in 2023, where there's only $5,000. Is there a rationale for that? Is it just there's not enough money to do the restorations? Could you tell me through you, Chair?
Mr. Duff.
Through you, we have no money for restoration. We had over the last, over the last 10 years or so, there was a process where if there was a surplus, we put that into a reserve account. for restoration and maintenance. And you may recall we came, I guess, probably 2 years ago and spoke to you about the renovation on the veranda, which was a safety issue. And that ran close to $100,000.
Thank you.
Reese.
And through you, Chair, I guess the last question is you talked about reserves. Are your reserves in difficulty at this point because you've not been adding to them and you've been paying them down? I don't see them anywhere in here, maybe the financial statements that you have provided, but the reserves are not here, I don't think.
Mr. Dunn.
With me, Mr. Chair, but I'm happy to send that off to
Great.
council if that's acceptable.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks.
Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. Thanks for coming with your presentation. Always clear and concise, and can see your history really well for the last few years. It is unfortunate to hear that there is no money left for restoration. I know it's a very expensive and daunting cost. Also, I just wanted to know through you, Mr. Chair, to Jeff or yourself, any idea when we're going to get the results back on the Engage Aurora survey that was conducted about Hillary House? Obviously, everybody knows that we were investigating a little bit about some of that history or information going forward with the public feedback. Is that something that you'll be able to provide me with?
I'm actually going to direct that to Ms. McDougall.
Through you, Mr. Chair, actually, it is scheduled to come back on December 2nd, Committee of the Whole. That'll provide the summary of the survey results for council at that time.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Well, I look forward to reviewing it then. Thanks.
Any further comments or questions to the presenters? Seeing none, thank you both. Thank you for all your efforts, to you and the entire board.
To thank Jason Gertner for his help in putting together the proposal today, and Ms. McDougall. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, all those in favor of receiving for information? Opposed? Motion carries. Council, unless there's any objections, I'm going to step back in the agenda, back to delegations. I see Mr. Durrant is here now. Phiona, if you would like to come and take the stand. As you know, please state your name. You have 5 minutes. I'm assuming you're probably going to need more. When you hear the bell, we'll just ask for a waiver and extend it a bit for you this evening.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Sorry so much about earlier today. I was literally outside from 5 o'clock. So I don't know what happened. So sorry about that. So good evening, Chair, councillors, and all attendees. I'm Phiona Durrant, the president of the Aurora Black Community Association. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight about the work we do and how we can deepen the partnership to benefit Aurora. To get started, I want to thank the mayor for bringing the Pan-African flag to the council chamber, a simple action that contributes to the sense of belonging and pride, for approving our first proclamation for Black History Month and his ongoing support, to Councillor Kim for implementing Cultural Day and other initiatives that make the Aurora more inclusive. Basically, we're this far because each of your input and support from past councillors like Sandra Humphrey, who helped us to make connection to get the work done, Councillor Gartner, and all others. Thank you to the town of Aurora for the funding that helps Black History Month that we have been having in the last, 4 or 3 years now. We could not have done it without you. And while we do not like to call names because you're going to miss someone, it would not be pleased to my heart to not say the work that we have done so far was successful because of the support of amazing staff like Robin McDougall, Phil Rose, Shelley Ware, Michelle Thompson, past staff like Dwayne and others that have made this work successful. In the last 4 years, I've seen the town taking steps into the right direction. And we recognize and deeply appreciate the efforts that you're taking to make and celebrate diversity and foster inclusion in our town. So thank you. I want to thank ABC Board and volunteers for their ongoing support. We could not have been here without them. And I will forever be thankful to the youths who organized a Solidarity March in response to George Floyd murder, and for the media for their helping us to spreading awareness. It does take a village to build community. Most of you already know who we are, but for formality and for those who are just hearing about Aurora Black community, we are a grassroots organization dedicated to build inclusive, vibrant, and a unified community through cultural education, advocacy, and programming. Our impact over the past 4 years have contributed greatly in position Aurora as an inclusive town, receiving praise locally and nationally. And through the work that we have done with events, community engagement, we make diversity visible and celebrated part of Aurora. That's a contribution we've made to the community. I've said to Phil Rose in one of our meetings, then Phil, in 7 to 10 years, there should not be a need for Aurora Black community, and at least not at this level. We should be celebrating and living the outcome. Some of the milestones that we have accomplished, sorry, I'm nervous, but some of the milestones that we have accomplished since 2021, we have successfully led efforts for Aurora to officially celebrate Black History Month, fostering belonging and understanding in our community. We have broken barriers in sports by engaging Black and diverse youth to activities in like ice skating, swimming, promoting inclusion and equipping family with essential life skills. And we have done so much more that you've seen. Recently, we've been acknowledged by the Honorable Greg Ferguson, the Speaker of the House, highlighting the contribution of ABC work that contributes to the diversity and equity efforts in Canada. We have cultivated space where allyship is being created and welcome, which is something that we cannot do without, and ensuring that there's no inclusion with exclusion. What is our ask for today? After looking what we've contributed to our community for the last 4 years, today we're asking to join the others to become formal partner. Sorry, do I stop? Okay, become a formal cultural partnership with the town. Our understanding of cultural partner within municipalities is that it's a key collaborator in building an inclusive community that we can all call home. So grassroots organizations such as ABC becoming partnerships strengthen our town in its role to foster understanding and creating opportunity for all residents to strive, which fulfill the town's mission that says, deliver exceptional services that make people proud to call Aurora home. We're requesting to be added to oops, sorry, something came up on my screen blocking me. We're requesting to be recognized as a formal cultural partner and be added to the budget. We're requesting $60,000 annually to support and expand the community-driven work to support long-term project and programs. This will allow us to work more collaboratively with the town and to drive meaningful DEI initiatives. Sorry.
For a quick second, Mr. Durrant, council can motion to extend. Councilor Weiss, Councilor Gardner, all in favor? Here, go ahead.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This will allow us to work more collaboratively with the town to drive meaningful DEI initiatives and more. This funding will also allow us to make impactful progress by getting the mission critical work done and contribute to the work that everyone on this council has expressed pride in. Together, we can improve on building a community where diversity, equity, and inclusion is more than a word. It's woven into the very essence of what makes Aurora special, where hate is not preventing Aurorans from feeling a sense of belonging. I will add that we work closely with the Aurora Black Caucus, and there would not be any concern of another organization coming to be added to the budget or for funding from the town. So here is what we want to do and how it benefits the town, the partnership benefits the town. Amplifying diversity and representation. By partnering with us, the municipality further elevates the visibility of diverse voices and history. Together, we expand initiative that reflects the lives, experience of our residents, ensuring everyone sees themselves represented in our story. Strengthening equity and inclusion. Our collaboration complements the town commitment to equity by co-creating programs that address systemic barriers, whether it's through education, mentorship, policy advocacy. We work hand in hand to enhance opportunity for all residents. Enhancing financial responsibility opportunities. Through a partnership, we have open access to federal funding streams and grants specifically designed to support diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, funds that the town will not otherwise be eligible for. These financial benefits enable us to co-create impactful programs and invest in building a stronger, more inclusive town together. And it's also a to support the town social responsibility. It's also helped to celebrate Black history and other culture. Through your support already, we have been able to elevate the recognition of Black History Month and other significant cultural milestone. And our partnership allows us to take this celebration, like Black History Month, to a new heights and beyond February 365. Events like flag raising, council proclamation, and community gathering creates awareness and foster pride in the town community. It builds a stronger community, and it's also empower future generation. By celebrating diverse history and experience, we enhance and inspire future leader who embrace equity and champion inclusion. These efforts create lasting legacy for Aurora, so no one is left behind. In conclusion, by working together, with the town, we are not just building programs and events, we're building a stronger, more unified Aurora. I've heard this once. People fail to get along because they don't know each other. People fear each other because they don't know each other. And we don't know each other because we don't communicate with each other. My personal mission is that I want to move the button further ahead than I found it when I moved to Aurora 18 years ago. I'm paraphrasing Martin Luther King when he said, I want to make a career of humanity, committing myself to the noble struggle for equity and human rights. He said, it's only then that we make a better person of ourselves, a greater nation of our country, and a finer world to live. As a grassroots organization, with a proven track record, we are ready and committed to do the work. Thank you again for considering our requests, and we're looking forward to your questions.
Thank you. Councilors, can I have a motion to receive for information? Councilor Kim, Councilor Weiss, any comments or questions for the delegate? Councilor Weiss.
Yeah, Phiona, thanks very much for coming. Great presentation here. One question I did have is the relationship between ABC and ABC, which is Aurora Black Caucus. Are you here representing both of those organizations and the mission of both of those organizations, or just the ABC?
Mr.
Through you to delegate.
Mr.
So let me get the formality right. Through you, Mr. Chair. All right, I got that. So yes, we recently, the chair of the Aurora Black Caucus and I recently sat down and put together a term of operation. One of the things we observed is that it's always assumed that because you're Black, you know each other. And the truth is, because you're Black, you don't know each other. So when you literally see somebody else on the street, you're like, hey, how long have you been here? Can I talk to you? So no, we didn't know each other when we got started. And for most of you already know how Aurora Black community started. It was out of the call of saying there's a solidarity march, what's next? So Milton and I sat and we spoke, and we didn't know each other. And so now we've called, and I said, we don't care what name we change, but we need to work together and we need to be one. This is a small town. You know, my husband said, well, you probably won't get the joke, but if you know pimento is similar to a black pepper grain or the uncrushed grain. We're like pimento in rice. So we don't really need to. But they have different function as well, but we work together. So we're representing both organization in our funding request. I believe I copy each of you on our terms of operation documents that says what our operation and function will be. And in terms of funding requests and how work get done through both of us, and funding is distributed throughout both organizations to get things done. Hope that answered the question.
Councilor Weiss.
Yes, it did. Thanks. That's all I have.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you so much, Mr. Durrant, for being here tonight and for all your efforts. Council, may I have a motion to receive the for information? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll go back now to considerations of items. Next up is the Aurora Public Library Board. We have a presentation from Jody Marr, Chief Executive Officer, Lauren Hanna, Financial Committee Chair, and Julie Roca, Business manager. I see 2 out of 3. Perfect.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Budget Committee. My name is Lauren Hanna, and I'm here this evening as the Chair of the Finance Committee for the Aurora Public Library. I'm also a lifelong Aurora resident and avid patron of the library. I'm here with several members of our board. We appreciate them joining this evening, and members of the staff team. And we are here to introduce our acting CEO, Julie Alka, Jody Marr. And I just wanted to first highlight the value of the library. And I'm sorry, frazzled. Perfect. First, I want to highlight that the library goes beyond books. We offer engaging programming. We have a strong connection to community resources. We support economic development, and we build strong, inclusive communities. I'm proud of the positive impact that the library has in the town. I'm proud of our strong working relationships with the town, and I would like to thank you for your ongoing support. And now I will turn it over to Jody.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Good evening. I'm happy to be here to share with you the amazing things that the Aurora Public Library does to serve the community. Public libraries play a vital role in the community and are Ontario's farthest reaching and most cost-effective public resource. We support the community in achieving their leisure, academic, and professional goals. This September, Aurora Town Square officially opened. This incredible new facility directly connects the library with our amazing partners in the town of Aurora, the Aurora Museum and Archives, and the Aurora Cultural Center. We are excited to continue to find ways to collaborate with these partners and to work together. We have already seen an increase in traffic as a direct result of the opening of Aurora Town Square. This October compared to last October, we had an extra 8,000 visitors come through our doors. So with this increased traffic and library use, the greater opportunity for partnered events, we have become more of a place to connect to the community than ever before. Aurora Public Library is a well-used and active space. There are many reasons that people come to visit us. As a society, we spend a lot of time in 2 places. You're at work or you're at home. So to enhance the quality of life, we have to have what is known as a third place. A third place is a space where you feel welcome, a place to connect with others over shared interests or activities. Third places help alleviate those feelings of loneliness and are key to fostering a growing sense of community. The library is one of the key third places in the town of Aurora. With the increase of work from home jobs, we have more and more users who see the library as an ideal co-working space. We also support local students who come to study and socialize. We hit our highest ever consecutive 7-day in-person total visits this year with over 10,000 students using the library to study for exams this past February. In addition to this, the library offers dynamic programming, spaces for families to play, and cool tools for DIY projects. Last year in 2023, the library had 229,520 in-library visits. With a large drop-off due to closures in 2020 and 2021, we continue to see the community return to the library. This year, we've estimated that we'll reach over 290,000, surpassing our 2019 totals. With the opening of Aurora Town Square, we expect this number will increase again in 2025. A busy public library is an asset to the community. Having a well-used public library not only demonstrates support for the work that we do, but also the need that we fill with the community. This year, we have seen an increase in library membership. The last time membership increased was 2019. Community members do not need a library card to use our space or attend our programs, but having a card offers them access to a wide array of resources that goes beyond the ability to borrow books. We have seen an increase in customers using our online digital resources to access things like magazines, newspaper articles, e-learning courses, and to stream films or television shows. Offering programming is a fundamental part of what we do. This is how we extend ourselves beyond the role of being a depository for books and information. Programming allows us to play an active role in the community as a dynamic hub where people of all ages can learn, connect, and grow. Programming transforms libraries into relevant and responsive spaces that meet the evolving needs of their communities. Last year, in 2023, we had our highest ever program attendance numbers with 32,810 people attending library events. The library ran on average 5 programs per day with an attendance of 18 people per program. This year, we are on track to equal that number. It is difficult to calculate the direct economic value of library programming, but if you estimate the standard market cost of attending a program to be $25, then that number is approximately $820,250 in value. In addition to this value, there are intangible social benefits such as skill development, mental health support, career development, and building community cohesion. Calculating these social benefits is more difficult, but equally as important. The programs in the library's creative studio are highly sought after with full wait lists to attend. This small space supports the creativity and innovation of our community and is well used by small business entrepreneurs, hobbyists, and students for a variety of creative projects. So far this year, outside of the classes we offer, we have had customers independently come to use the studio to do over 270 3D print jobs and over 50 laser cut projects. The demand for 3D printing alone required us to invest in a second 3D printer this year. The Creative Studio is a great example of how the library supports innovation and hands-on learning. In 2024, the library has partnered with over 45 community organizations to deliver programming and services to the residents of Aurora. Some of our other community partners are here presenting today. These partnerships help us enhance our capacity to serve the community. Community partners provide specific expertise in their areas of specialty that meet the community directly in their area of need and support residents in vital ways. Community partners often use the library as a hub location to connect customers with their services. The library recognizes and works with cultural groups to develop authentic programming and events. Cultural programming promotes inclusivity, fosters understanding, and celebrates the diversity of our community. These programs reduce cross-cultural barriers and promote diversity awareness. They play a role in preserving cultural heritage and appreciation, enriching the community's cultural fabric, and showing that all cultures are valued and contribute to the community's cultural identity. Aurora Public Library plays a pivotal role in helping newcomers adjust to their new surroundings by offering ESL programming, literacy supports, and referrals to community services. We empower newcomers to develop skills, build social connections, and participate in the community, ultimately fostering a more inclusive and resilient society. Aurora Public Library supports education and academic pursuits for students of all ages, teachers, and lifelong learners. Not only do we provide access to a wide range of resources and information, including online journals and databases, but we have study rooms, proctoring services, and volunteer reading buddies. The library offers programming that supports local homeschooling families, and we do outreach to public schools with our 3D printers and robotics kits that reinforce the school's STEM curriculum. This year, we introduced an online resource called BrainFuse, which offers one-on-one, subject-specific live tutoring, and we have provided students with over 600 tutoring sessions this year. And while libraries are more than their collections, we still can't talk about libraries without mentioning their physical and digital things that we circulate. Library circulation continues to increase since the drop in 2020. Based on the numbers from 2023 and the numbers from the first 3 quarters of 2024, we estimate that we will circulate approximately 641,000 materials this year, getting us less than 100,000 off our highest circulation number from 2019. Circulation is a key performance indicator for the library and translates into a high return on investment for residents. The library has a value calculator that customers can use to project the cost of savings that they are getting from using the library. Obviously, some items weigh in more heavily than others, but if you estimate the average cost per item to be $25 and multiply that by the circulation totals of 2023, then you get an approximate value of $13.5 million. The library provides the residents of Aurora significant savings and value in return for the investment that you make in us. Going beyond traditional print materials, the library has expanded the collection to offer an array of unique items that add increased value. This month, we are launching the Library of Things, which provides customers with the ability to borrow items like cameras, walking poles, tools, repair kits, cricket machines, and more. The Library of Things helps combat inequities in our community based on socioeconomic factors by providing access to items that may be too cost prohibitive for individuals to purchase. Not included in the previous circulation totals are the library's electronic resources. Resources like Mango Learning can replace the need for a similar expensive subscription-based app, and Canopy or Hoopla can be a substitute for paid streaming services. The amount of newspaper and magazine article views alone from Press Reader is an astounding number. Our society is becoming more and more comfortable with engaging with information online, and the library facilitates access to high-quality competitive resources.
Jody, I'm just going to get you pause for a second while I ask for a motion to extend. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gallo, all in favor? Thanks. Keep going, Jody.
All right, on to budget pressures. The budget pressures for the library include factors such as cost of living increases, which directly affect operating costs. This year, we negotiate with our CUPE 905.02 staff group, and in 2025, we will negotiate with the 905.27 bargaining group. Our goal is to ensure fair compensation for staff while responsibly maintaining financial stability for the library. We have also seen increased costs from our library-specific service and software vendors that are upwards of 5% of previous years. Lastly, the library continues to rebuild our capital reserve after drawing from it for contributions to Aurora Town Square. We need to establish a healthy balance so that we can look forward and plan for future large-scale capital projects. The library runs efficiently with a small workforce, and as I have shown through this presentation, we provide deep value on a number of levels to the community. Our funding request remains the same as what we presented in 2023, with a 2% increase from 2024. We are able to maintain this even though we are feeling the direct pressures that I previously mentioned. In this presentation, I've demonstrated that how the library is a cost-effective institution in the community that maximizes the value of the municipal funds that you invest in us. We transform each dollar into a wealth of resources, services, and programs that serve to enhance the lives of the residents of Aurora beyond individual savings for library users. The library fosters economic growth, lifelong learning, and social connection, effectively multiplying public investment into invaluable returns that benefit the entire community. There are so many things that I could continue to share with you. I'm passionate about the work that we do and the impact that we have on the community around us. I was only able to share some of the highlights of that today, but I'm happy to delve deeper one-on-one if anyone would like to get together later. Thank you for your time, and there you go.
Thank you. Council, can I have a motion to receive for information? Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gilliland, any comments or questions for Ms. Marr? Councillor Weiss.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Jody, thanks for coming tonight. I also want to thank you for stepping in so admirably when our former CEO left. I've been working with the board for a while. I also want to thank Lauren for the work that she's been doing on the financial side of things. My experience with the library thus far has been substantial, just simply because I came from the old kind of a library, and this is no kind of old library. You've created a robust space where people want to be, particularly young people, and provided them with the information that they need. The impact in the community, as far as I'm concerned, is outstanding. And frankly, I think it's one of the major drivers to the ATS. The only question I suppose I have has to do with how you calculated the economic impact. I mean, it was seemed to be through a saving, but through you, can we just can you expand a little bit on economic impact that you have?
Ms. Marr.
Mr. Chair. Industry standard often states, are you talking about circulation totals, or you're talking about the impact of the programming specifically?
Yeah, the economic impact.
Okay, so
13 point whatever.
Yeah, 13.5 million. So we circulate items as inexpensive as $10 children's books, the newspapers or magazines, things like that. And then as expensive as video games. So you scoop all that up into one pile and you can create an average of $25. And we just times it by last year's circulation totals to get an estimated number. So we just use some industry standards there to keep things, but it's approximate value.
Great, thank you. And
if they were to buy them themselves as opposed to utilize.
Exactly. Yeah.
And one more, if you don't mind. You had some examples of, you said community partnerships, and you have a number of community partnerships. Can you give me a few examples of how you partner with some of these community groups? Because I think it's very important for us to understand those.
Thank you. We partner with different groups in different ways, but some of the social community partners will just come in and set up a table. So I showed an image of CCYRS, which is an immigration services. They will set up a table. They have people come and meet them there, and they will get resources from those. We also partner with someone on a more regular basis. So like the Catholic District School Board, for example, comes in and biweekly runs ESL courses. So we work with them to make sure that we promote the courses, and they supply the expertise in that area. Larger events. So just this past Remembrance Day weekend, we worked with the Aurora Black community, and we hosted a panel discussion about Black soldiers and remembering the Black soldiers that contributed. So there's lots of different things, from educational to all of those different aspects I covered. So some of it takes more effort from the staff, and some of it is an easier partnership where the expertise comes in and we share our space.
Thank you. Very good, sir. And last, I just want to thank you because for the first time, and it shows the impact of the library. My 5-year-old grandson said he wanted to go there last Saturday. So thanks very much for that. It's a place to be.
Wonderful. Councilor Gardner.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. What kind of future large-scale capital projects would you have in mind?
Ms. Marr.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we are at capacity for when it comes to programming. I don't know if we can do more than 5 programs per day. So we're doing great with what we have, but very further down the line, I think we need to think about either expanding our facility or creating a new facility within the town of Aurora. That would be a huge partnership, but it's something that we need to plan heavily for and work together to decide.
Thank
Councilor
you.
Gardner.
Good and bad news. The one-on-one tutoring online, how many, did you do it by hours or by people? I missed the figure on the one-on-one tutoring.
Ms. Marr.
Live tutoring was over 600 sessions. So a session could last any time from 20 minutes to over an hour. So we don't count the number of hours. We only count the number of sessions that people sign up for.
That's wonderful. Does the library charge for any of the programs that it provides?
No, that is not part of our mandate. That is why we really demonstrate our value in different ways, because we don't charge for any programming. It's something other libraries do, but I don't believe it's something that should be in the mandate of a public library.
Thank you. And there's nobody who comes into the library who charges for public.
That's correct. We don't allow advertising any of our partners. We have specific partnership rules that everything needs to be free of cost.
Thank you.
Councilor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Jody, for all the great work that you and the library have done over the years, and certainly in conjunction with former CEO Bruce Gorman and partnering with the town, with the Aurora Town Square. My first question involves membership. I know for the longest time, membership, getting library cards were going in the opposite direction, going down, whereas physical attendance and programming attendance were going up. And I think maybe 3-4 years ago, a membership increase, which was a surprise. So can you give us the reason or some context behind the membership increase this year?
Ms. Marr.
Town Square?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. We are doing a lot of work with outreach. So that may be one of the reasons. We go to a lot of school visits. We go to places like St. Andrews College, and we really promote the library outside of our space. We also have done a lot through the Summer Reading Club program, where we go through 2 schools, and we continue to promote the library and that programming there. And we're getting a really great response with that. But right now we are on a total upswing with more people visiting the library. More people are getting library cards because they see everything else that we offer, and they really want to access all of it.
Councilor Kim.
Okay, thank you. And my last question is regarding the economic impact of the programming attendance of 820,250. You attributed that to having one attender equal, they would have to pay a $25 figure for equivalent cost of attending. So I fail to understand with respect to the economic impact, because there's no revenue being generated and there is no expense from the library, and I don't see any trickle down. So can you provide some more context behind why that figure was included in the programming attendance? Because I think everyone would have been, just as satisfied just from the attendance itself. But I don't quite understand the $820,000 figure.
Ms. Mar.
I think it's important to add value to what we do and to show our expertise and to show that if you were to pay for a program of similar experience at a different type of organization, that you would pay $25. Our goal is to even the playing field so that everyone in the community can have access to this type of high quality programming. So the trickle down is not going to be monetary, but it's important to note the monetary value that we're offering. So the trickle down that we offer is that social cohesion, is that bringing everyone together, is that allowing the people that may not be able to afford a great paint night or other things like that to still have that experience. So then they can have those conversations with their friends and really relate to one another. And no one in our community is left out.
Mr. Kim.
Thank you. That's what I anticipate you'd say. And I do agree that if one were to charge $25, people would most likely not be participating. So it's certainly a value that you can't put a value on. So thank you.
Councilor Gallo.
Thank you. Thank you, Jody. Great presentation. I was fortunate enough to be on the board for these past 2 years, and it opened my eyes to the inner workings of the library and how it's been converted into a space where anyone can go and enjoy. And I often walk through and I admire so much the fact that you've been able to attract so many young people into the library, just sitting there doing their homework, chatting, a space for them to go, and that is incredibly valuable. Thank you to you and everyone else for accomplishing that. I just have one question about, you spoke about the reserve and contributions to the reserve. In the budget, it says 220,000. Do you have a balance offhand of what the current reserve fund reserve is?
Ms. Mar.
Our general capital right now sits at $1,080,900. We also have a donations of around 47, almost 48,000. And then we have our DCs as well. And that's around 2.1 million.
And just offhand, how much was contributed towards Town Square?
Ms. Mar.
5.3 million.
Thank you.
Any more questions for the presenter? Ms. Mar, thank you very much for being here. Great to see the library is being well utilized. Love to see the numbers are coming back to the pre-pandemic and in some cases exceeding them. So job well done to you and everyone that volunteers and works at the library. Next up, we have the Aurora Cultural Center Board. Oh, sorry. Clerk reminded me. All those in favor of receiving for information? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Welcome to Suzanne Hines, Executive Director, and Maury. Nice to see you. Vice President, and is Michelle joining you? Oh, there's Michelle in the background. Perfect. Wonderful. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Council, town staff, and all the guests here tonight. Good evening. My name is Maury Pitoka. I'm Vice President of the Aurora Cultural, Vice President of the Board of the Aurora Cultural Center. It's my privilege to address you tonight on behalf of our board. This evening, I'm here to reflect on some of the work that we've done throughout the last year, our ongoing relationship, of course, with the town, and our collective aspirations for the future. This past year has been quite a pivotal one as we journeyed together on the Aurora Town Square project. So together we navigated many numerous shifts, We continue discovering some new challenges to address, but also many opportunities for us to leverage in our new home. Our collaborative efforts have been instrumental in really shaping a vibrant community space that honors our town, our people, and truly embraces the future. With consideration to the trail we've been blazing together, the board developed a transitional plan for 2024 through 2025. We did this to allow some time for us to learn how we can best operate in the Aurora Town Square. We work closely with town staff, thank you very much, to clarify roles and responsibilities, including access to the programming spaces. This partnership has been foundational. As we transitioned into these new facilities, ensuring that our collective vision for our community engagement through arts and culture is realized. And as we look to the future, the board is already preparing to embark on crafting our 2026 to 2030 strategic plan, with development work starting in Q1 as we fully activate our programming in Aurora Town Square for a complete year. We're excited about the learnings and the opportunities that will arise from our continued partnership with the town, further enabling us to enrich our community's cultural experience, making it accessible and very affordable for everyone to enjoy. So we're confident in the strength of our board and staff, many of whom are joining us here tonight, so thank you. And we feel very confident as well in our ability as a team to lead the center into what we see as a very promising future. So thank you for the opportunity to share these updates with you. I'd like to hand things over to Suzanne, our Executive Director, who will share our story.
Thank you, Maury. Mr. Chair, councillors, town staff, and guests, welcome to our 2025-2026 presentation. Today, we're going to briefly go through our profile, our programs, and I'll present our 2024 KPIs known to date and move to the budgets for our future programming for the community. Our mission, vision, and core values remain the same through our 2018 to 2023 strategic plan and our 24-25 transitional plan. And the board is going to be reviewing these for our next strategic plan that Maury just mentioned. Also, as Maury mentioned, we're now back in regular programming in our home, and we look forward to a full year in the building in 2025. And now on to the details of our 2024 year. Our gallery exhibits run all year long with installation breaks in between each, but our online gallery remains for the public to view throughout the year. Up until the end of August, we were in our temporary home at Aurora Town Hall, and we were able to add temporary public art exhibitions at the AFLC. Our grand opening was spectacular at Aurora Town Square, opening exhibits and activating a unique collaboration with the Town Cultural Department to curate and deliver on 8 augmented reality installations throughout Aurora Town Square called Future Grounds. We encourage the public to download the app and experience the augmented reality of these paintings commissioned from emerging artists from equity-seeking groups and communities. Future Grounds will be installed until the end of January 2025. We have a new exhibit of 7 masters coming later this month in our homeroom galleries, the last installation of 2024. The 7 masters being exhibited include Albert Girandini, Helen Lucas, Kay Murray Weber, Travis Schilling, Bruce Smith, York Wilson, and Tom Zoltz. Each exhibit is accompanied by educational art bites that are online, in addition to live artist receptions and special events. Our performing arts program has multiple series with support from sponsors. Programming now includes support or opening acts with headliners. This move creates better synergies for the emerging talents to make connections with established artists. We were off-site until August. In September, we were asked to be part of the grand opening along with other community partners with 2 shows on September 27th and October 5th, and we continue until the end of the year with 2 more holiday concerts in the new David D. Simone Performance Hall. Our classical series, curated by award-winning artists and producers Bonnie and Norbert Kraft, have our last classical concert, which is sold out for this week with the iconic Canadian brass. Our family series moved back into Brevik Hall for October, and our upcoming Robert Munch show is on December 7th during the town's holiday market. There's only a few tickets left for this one, so if you want to come to the holiday concert, you'll need to get those tickets fast. We had a number of special events off-site this year and continued with events back in our home at Aurora Town Square. A focus of our transitional plan was to engage in far more outreach. We were successful throughout the summer with the board's outreach committee stewarding activities. Our volunteer program continues to bring us joy and opportunities for many in the community to get involved. As our volunteers now support Aurora Town Square, there are many more opportunities and more individuals that we're seeing. And now on to our statistics. The in-person gallery visits at Aurora Town Hall were tracked only on Saturdays when our staff were present, so it's not reflecting the number of people who visit through Town Hall weekly. We know through anecdotal feedback that the gallery was enjoyed by Town Hall staff and through visitors on the second floor purposely in coming to enjoy the exhibits. Our online gallery numbers are accurate for those who view the gallery program through our website. We were able to track the number of visitors who visited the AFLC, the public art component. They would have seen these temporary exhibits located right at the front entrance. We hope to be able to track visitors the same way at Aurora Town Square once visitor counters become available. Our performing arts program was fully in person in 2024, and looking to the future, we do hope to be able to provide live streams to our partners who serve isolated residents in long-term care facilities. Our education program continued at Aurora Town Hall until June. Then in the summer, shifted the program to the the rooms beside the library and in the armory. And then, of course, we were in the Shining Hill Visual Arts Studios as of September. Kaleidoscope in the schools continued in January through June 2024 in elementary schools throughout York Region. This was the first year we tracked our interactions on outreach activities, and here are the results. On this slide, you'll see two instances that I want to just point out of public art viewers, which are not recorded in the full total on this chart. As you see, the chart only goes to 60,000. It would dramatically impact the participation number in the years where we could not host a temporary public art exhibit, so they're shown as separate on the chart itself. The numbers here are up to August 31st, 2024. Our program revenues continue to grow as we're able to offer year-round programming. 2024 numbers are a projection to year-end. This slide's not part of our key KPIs, but it does show how we generate the highest earned revenue in our programs. Please remember that as a not-for-profit charitable organization, we're eligible for grants, sponsorships, and donations that help cover the costs and enable other programs to be offered in the community, like free gallery programming, Kaleidoscope in our schools, and our public gallery outreach. And this is our breakdown of program versus administrative expenses for 2024, which are projected to year end. We report on our ability to generate alternative revenue sources, leveraging the contribution from the town to generate earned revenue and revenue from other sources like grants, sponsorships, and donations. This leveraging enables a significant amount of programming for our community. And here's our financial summary for 2024 up to August. Final numbers will be reported in our audited statements and our annual report. We've worked with town staff to create efficiencies and professional service models for clients we serve in the production and front of house audience management for Aurora Town Square. These final KPIs will be reported in our annual report at the conclusion of the year. And now on to our budget. The board has developed objectives for the Aurora Cultural Center's budget in the next 2 years. You'll see they are related to work in Aurora Town Square, building our brand, and working with our partners to deliver cultural services to Aurora through these opportunities and new ones. And we have our budget here for 2025-2026. Our arts programming remains at the forefront of what we do, as you've seen in this presentation for 2024. We will be normalized back to previous models with some growth as we make use of the new facility to deliver arts and cultural programming for the community. Program expenses are offset by grant sponsorship and generous donations from the community to keep our prices accessible. And thank you for your support. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Through Mr. Chair, as always, thank you. I'm interested in looking at the outreach activities. Outreach to Richmond Hill, Newmarket, Stouffville. How did you manage that? Bradford.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we were eligible and received a grant for an outreach intern. So we were able to go scour York Region. We know that our audience comes from, throughout York Region and beyond. We really wanted to connect with those communities and help them understand that Aurora Town Square was coming and that we had programming available, and as well as significant volunteer opportunities. Our outreach committee is very active on the board, and our outreach chair is here. Just stewarding those activities was really important through the outreach intern. So we hopped in the car and off we went.
Thank through Mr. Chair. Is there any way to assess how successful the outreach was? Do we ask people where they come from?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we had a number of things that we were looking for in terms of what the success would look like, because we were doing this in the summer and we were moving into Aurora Town Square. We were looking for people to get to know our programming and to volunteer with us. And through the efforts that we had 77 people sign up to be involved with us in our volunteer program, which was a huge success. We weren't expecting that kind of number. We did not, we had draws that we did. So we got some additional email addresses and got to know people that were kind of further afield, but also within our own community, within Aurora, and added those people to our mailing list. I don't have the number of people that were added on, but I can certainly get that for you. In terms of the outreach, since this was the first time that we really did this and tracked, we have a whole bunch of learnings that we want to continue in the future. And we know that that position is going to be really important to enable us to do that.
Councilor Gardner.
So if you have any volunteers interested in cultural heritage, can you please point them in the direction of the Aurora Historical Society?
Thank you. Councilor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Suzanne and the team for the great job during the COVID years and transitioning to the new Aurora Town Square. Couple of questions and comments. It's great that 2023 and in particular year to date 2024, we've vastly surpassed pre-COVID, the 2019 years, and that's fantastic. In terms of the performing arts and education revenues, how much of that came post ATS opening? I'm just curious in terms of revenues. It's a great number. How much was attributed to ATS?
Ms. Haynes.
Through you, Mr. Chair. We haven't been able to activate a ton of programming in Aurora Town Square because we didn't actually get it until September. Yeah. So it's really, these are all projected numbers because you see things up until August. So we had a number of programs that we wanted to run. Some of them we didn't have some of them we canceled, most of them ran. We've only had a small number of shows. So the bulk of the numbers are really offsite. We had some incredible partnerships while we were nomadic and offsite. The 5 or 6 different venues that we used enabled us to increase our audience size because most of them were bigger than the 150 seat house that we had in Brevik Hall. So we've been growing over the last 4 years. And so the first part of the year was incredibly successful. We are now seeing great success, sold out shows, people wanting our tickets for the latter half, of the year. So I think it's definitely, we are seeing a boost from Aurora Town Square, and we expect to continue to see that in the new year with our programming.
Councilor Kim.
Thank you. And it's remarkable work in terms of getting those revenue numbers and doing that remotely and offsite. My last question is regarding the Family Leisure Complex and the visits to the pop-up gallery. How did you count those visitors at the Family Leisure Complex? Was it pretty well like everyone who came in that day, or because the pop-ups are right in the front, how did you differentiate?
Saints.
Through
Through you, Mr. Chair. That's exactly it. You do have people counters at the AFLC, and we ask town staff for those numbers for that period of time, specifically from the day of install right through until it was removed, because it is right there. There's no way you can miss it.
Great. Thank you. Well done.
Councilor Weiss.
Thank you. And through you, Chair, to Suzanne, thanks very much for the wholesome presentation. And I want to thank you for the work that you've done there at the ATS just to get the launch. There was a time that I couldn't keep up with all the things that were happening there. So you're truly the economic and entertainment driver of that area. So thanks for that. A couple of questions though. I really like your comments. I really like the fact of how you've prepared this, because it really identifies the earned revenue and the comparison of the grant versus earned revenue. So it shows a real interest in you trying to create that sustainable product here, and it seems to be working. So thanks very much for that. I am interested in some of those other revenue areas that you have, and one of them is grants. And I noticed a couple of years ago you did the Kaleidoscope. And could you identify how that's going and how long that's going? Because it's a particular interest of mine from schools. So through you to Suzanne.
Suzanne.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Kaleidoscope in the schools in the last year went to 48 different schools across York region. It is a beloved project of the Aurora Cultural Centre. It was partially funded through an Ontario Trillium Foundation grant that sunsets this year. So we are fundraising actively to replace those funds. It is funded exclusively through grants and donations. And this year we have been in conversation with the schools to see if anyone can participate in some way to bring the program into their schools. It's about $2,800 per school, so it's an expensive program, but it's a fulsome program. So, I mean, many of you have heard me talk about it. I'm very passionate about this. It's something that starts with professional development for the teachers so that they can understand the embed learning, how to embed learning in the JK and grade 4 up to grade 4 students that are going to see the show. And then the students come and see the show collectively as a community. It builds that social cohesion in the school and arts, innovation, as well as a sense of belonging because of the different kinds of programs. And then the post-show workshops and work with the teachers to embed that learning again. And we hope that they'll also come to the Aurora Cultural Centre for a program after. So it's something that we know we have to find more donors for in order to continue to deliver at that level. Aurora is our home base. We're always going to deliver to the Aurora elementary schools, but we want to continue to also deliver to these schools that are low capacity, and low capacity means a lot of different things. But it does mean whether they have, the complement of teachers to student ratio, the socioeconomics of the area, French and English programming. French schools don't get the same level of programming or access to programming, so we deliver in French and in English. So we want to continue that in a really robust way. With the current programming, we know that we need to reduce the amount of schools that we go to because of the grant sunsetting. So we need to kind of build that back up with other fundraising efforts.
Right. Councilor Weiss.
Thank you. And through you, though, I see in your budget for 2025 that only 1% of your expenses are being focused on fundraising. Is that a challenge for you then, through you, Suzanne?
Have more money for marketing and fundraising. And I know my development officer, were he here, he'd be like, yes, let's find some more money. Well, the way we work is that we actually, like in terms of stewardship, that stewardship is across a lot of the staff members, including myself, and that's not reflected in that number. It's not, doesn't include the staffing component of that, but it is the direct kind of actual costs of stewarding.
Okay, Councilor Weiss.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. You did it. That's all I can say. You guys did more pivots and turns during COVID and the construction of Aurora Town Square. I've been at the Armory, Town Hall, pop-ups, and you guys did a really fantastic job, in my opinion, in order to keep your operations up and going, and also during COVID as an engagement type of industry. you were still able to reach the community. So I commend you for that. And it's great to see that you're finally in there and you have a space now that you can reclaim as your own, but now you have this fantastic collaboration with Town Square as well. And, hopefully all we're going to see is those projection numbers go up even further. So I'm really excited for you as well. Looking at the numbers, to me, it looks great and looks very promising. And I'm sure you're just as excited as well. So I do appreciate that. I do have a question. Just I have been on the websites back and forth, and I have had some confusion. I have taken it up with my internal staff on some of our programming or performance side. And I'm just curious, through Mr. Chair to Suzanne, Ms. Haynes, do you still have purchasing packages for subscriptions? I couldn't seem to find any kind of link for that. And I know that I've always tried to promote creating memories that last. Some people don't want to buy necessarily a thing or a gift, but they like that memory. And I just didn't know if there was somewhere on a website. Am I going to the Town Square website? Am I going to your website? I'm just having a little bit of struggle here. And I don't want to see that being a hardship or a barrier to that increase in revenue.
Saints.
We don't want that to be a barrier either. We do have a subscription package as part of our regular brochure. When you see the up close and musical, for once you buy 3 shows, you get a 15% discount on anything you buy after that. And it's an automatic discount that's applied. So it's not this, you must pick this package. It's more user friendly than that, but it also ends up being, well, where is the subscription package? I understand the challenge. And so we can always do better in communicating that. But the partnership with Red 61 has been incredible. It's a robust software system that has a capability to do a lot of different things. We're learning how to work with it. The town staff are learning how to work with it. We have staff that are talking, person to person to figure out any issues that are coming up for us that also could benefit other users that are using the system. But it's actually quite an asset that the town has for that space. And it is intended to make it easier. We can definitely make that clearer if it's not clear how to do that, because we've had that question before. And I know that the customer service staff have that answer also, because we share a lot. It's so great to be in the same building, so we can just walk over to the customer service desk and say, we just had this question, make sure you let your staff know. And this is how it works. And, is there something you can put on your website? Because people do land on our website and then get redirected to Red 61 and the Aurora Town Square site, or they might land on the Aurora Town Square site and find something in the What's On, which is great that we've got that prominence. And they'll go in, but there's not the same language. So they'll see it more prominently on our site than on the town, like how Red 61 can present that. So we're working on it, and every day is a learning experience, it feels like, with that program, but it's fantastic. It was a great choice. So,
Councilor Yellen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And through Mr. Chair, if I may, if you could let myself and the public understand what 361 means, because I'm imagine some people wouldn't really understand, and they would think they're going to the aurora-cultural-center.ca or townsquare.ca. Could you just please explain that?
Ms. Haynes.
through you, Mr. Chair, incorrect vernacular, please go to our website or to the Town Square website. It will take you through to the software that is called Red 61. No one needs to know that. That's me getting into the weeds a little bit too much. So apologies for that.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Councilor Gallo.
Thank you. We knew how successful you guys could be within Church Street School, and you did it for many years. The level of success that you had without a facility is absolutely incredible. And I just can't imagine how well you're going to do within the new facility. Councillor Weiss kind of stole my thunder, or maybe you stole my thunder. I was going to speak to Kaleidoscope in the schools, and it's where it started, and some seed funding from a private donor, and I think 6 schools, if I'm not mistaken, when it first started, and it's up to, it says 30, but 40 some odd schools now, and the reach that program has is just incredible and highly needed, and I hope it continues. So I'm so glad to see those successes, notwithstanding not even being in a physical your physical building. On the weekend, I watched a movie at the Town Square. about non-for-profits, and the major theme of it was how much should a not-for-profit spend on the administration versus whatever else they do, if it's a charity or whatever else they do. And I see it's about 20%. I don't know if it's the total budget, but in your program and administration expenses, 20% is there. In the movie, and I'm not suggesting we increase your budget, don't get me wrong, but in the movie, it said any successful non-for-profit, the expenses on administration or overhead should be somewhere around 30 to 32, maybe 35% if you really want to be successful. And we need to break a concept that, you know, you shouldn't be spending all that money because people are donating something. Most of it should be going to whatever it is they're donating. And in the movie explains wonderfully that, you know, if you're spending $2 million and you're making $200 million, I don't think anyone is complaining. And that concept rings true here, just to show how successful you are at 20%. Again, I'm not suggesting you increase your budget or making any motions to do that. I'm simply highlighting how successful you could be with those kind of figures, and the amount of impact that you can have in the town of Aurora is incredible. Thank you.
Councillor Gardner for the second time.
Through you, Mr. Chair. First of all, that movie is called Uncharitable, and it's worth seeing. I'm trying to figure out on the slide, education kaleidoscope in the schools. It says number of schools, and I guess 63 workshops were presented. But how did we get to 721 teachers?
Ms. Haynes.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the teachers participate in the shows themselves and also in the workshops and in any professional development that we're able to offer. So within each of the classes, they'll bring their teacher with them, and that's considered to be a participant in the show itself, and also the post-show workshop. That's where the artists stay in the schools for the grade 4 students and work directly with them on the art, whatever art is being presented. So we count all of that up as part of who is impacted by the program.
And what would a post-show workshop be like? I could understand a pre, but what would a post be?
Saints.
Through you, Mr. Chair. The post-show workshops are often hands-on. So if we bring in a puppetry group, then the students might create some puppets and put on their own show. Okay. If it's a music workshop, we might bring additional drums in and they can play, or additional instruments, and they can learn something with the artists on their cultural background. If it's a dance group, then they take them through a dance routine and teach them how to build a dance program, the cultural context within which they're working, and then they have a final presentation. And these workshops have been so impactful in the schools. In our very first year, which was 12 schools in Aurora, strictly in Aurora, the workshop was actually, there was a workshop that was delivered to grade 2 students in one of the Catholic schools. And that year they took their learning from that and taught the schools how to use their djembes and base their holiday show based on what they learned from the workshop. So it's like, it was overwhelming what can come out of some of those learnings. And that's the first year. We have stories for every school, I could tell you. So there's impact, and it embeds the learning from what they saw on the show.
Ms. Gardner.
Thank you. And the artists provide the workshops?
Saints.
Pretty good value for money then. Thank you.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Any further comments or questions? Ms. Haynes, to you, to all the staff, volunteers, the board, thank you so much. You know, not only was it a successful year for the Aurora Cultural Center, but all of your support and help to get Aurora Town Square launched and be successful as well. And we are all looking forward to not just a strong finish to this year for the ACC, but what next year brings as well for you. Thank you. Council, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, we have the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. We'll have a presentation by Javed Khan, President, and Brian Roberts, the Treasurer. Welcome, Javed and Brian. Floor is yours.
Well, good evening, members of Town Council, Town of Aurora staff, viewers on YouTube, along with our 2024 inductee. Marcel Gary is here with us tonight. Congratulations, Marcel, and our dedicated volunteers who are with us tonight, including Mike Smith behind me. Joining me from the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. For those who do not know me, my name is Javid Khan. I'm a resident of the town of Aurora for over 2 decades and currently serving as the president of the and chair of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Our organization's mission is to recognize, share, and preserve the remarkable achievements of individuals who have brought honor to Aurora through their contributions to the world of sports. Our vision is to be an inclusive and accessible resource for everyone interested in exploring and immersing themselves in the rich sports history and culture of Aurora. It truly takes a community to build a successful organization, and that has been our experience since our inception in 2013. We extend a special thank you to those individuals who have contributed and continue to contribute to our success, including the members of Town Council and staff, past and present, longstanding sponsors, our growing local media partners, community partner organizations, our volunteers, and Hall of Famers, and of course, members of our community. Your support has been invaluable. Let me take a moment to share some of the key highlights since we last stood here to present our budget. First, we celebrated yet another successful Celebrity Golf Classic, our 2nd annual event at the stunning Pheasant Run Golf Club. It was a memorable day filled with exciting golf under the summer sun, delicious food and drinks, and a meaningful conversation centered around mental health and sports. Thank you goes to all participants who make this day so special. We're especially appreciative of our sponsors whose support was instrumental in the event's success. And of course, a special thanks to Mike Smith and Stu Bundy, the co-chairs of the Golf Committee and the Volunteer Committee, for their outstanding work. Looking ahead, we are excited to announce the 3rd annual Celebrity Golf Classic set for June 12th, 2025, once again at Pheasant Run Golf Club. We warmly invite all of you and everyone watching to join us for another fantastic day of golf, great food and drinks, and inspiring discussions. Mark your calendars. We can't wait to see you there. Other highlights include our participation in the Aurora Soccer Club's 70th anniversary celebrations, the annual Town of Aurora Volunteer Fair, the Town of Aurora's Concerts in the Park series, the Aurora Farmers Market and Artisan Fair, and the Aurora Chamber of Commerce annual member barbecue. We were thrilled to be part of the grand opening of the Aurora Town Square, a long-awaited project that finally came to life after years of discussion and planning. Additionally, we continued our tradition of participating in the Aurora Chamber of Commerce Street Festival and hosted a milestone event introducing branded jackets for our Hall of Famers and members of the board, elevating our brand presence in a meaningful way. We're deeply grateful to Hall of Famer Marco Di Girolamo for his generous sponsorship, providing jackets to all of our current Hall of Famers. Marco, your support and commitment have made this initiative a true success. The individuals wearing the blue jackets, like myself and Brian behind me, and Jerry Miller and Dave Tom, and all the other members of the board, generously covered the cost of their own jackets. Additionally, community engagement, including participating for the first time ever in this year's Southlake Foundation Run Walk for Southlake, where ASOF was well represented. We also supported the Cape for Kids program, and our education committee launched the Sport History Live program at a local retirement residence and a number of other retirement residents through the year, bringing the stories of sport history to life for residents. A special shout out goes to former Councillor Bob McRoberts, one of our organization's longest standing volunteers, who's took on an incredible challenge. Bob completed an impressive walk from Union Station to Aurora GO train station in 8 hours and 23 minutes. We were honored to support Bob's fundraising efforts, which raised over $8,000 in support of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada, Ontario region. Bob, congratulations on your remarkable achievement. We are thrilled with the continued success of our Street Banner program, now entering its 3rd year. This initiative celebrates our current inductees while also showcasing our broader roster of Hall of Famers. This year, we're excited to feature the class of 24 as part of the banner raising, alongside a selection of other Hall of Famers from our roster. I must say this program has been a tremendous success, enhancing our brand exposure, supporting our mission, and honoring our fantastic members. Since we last gathered and towards the end of last year, we introduced a Future Hall of Famer of the Month program. In collaboration with the athletic directors of Aurora's high schools, we've been recognizing a Future Hall of Famer each month. Each honoree receives a ASOF t-shirt, a feature in the local newspaper, and digital exposure across social media channels. A special thank you goes to Pat Park, our volunteer lead, for his hard work in coordinating this program, handling everything from communication to ensuring the editorial is placed in the paper. After a brief break over the summer for logistics, we are excited to resume highlighting the next future Hall of Famer of the month. And we are currently seeking a sponsor for this initiative. So if you're watching live or viewing this recording, please reach out to us via our website and we'll connect you with Pat. A few years ago, we purchased a beautifully crafted display case, now proudly showcased at the Aurora Family Leisure Complex, located on the main floor past the swimming pool near the squash courts. This display was originally owned by Hall of Famer Reg Chappelle, who kindly offered it to us at a very reasonable price. We officially launched the display during the 2024 Summer Olympics with an Olympic-themed exhibit. Big thank you to our curation team, Michelle Johnson and Jeremy Hood, for their excellent work in setting up the first display, and they have recently changed the theme to celebrate our class of 2024 inductees. Most recently, we invested replacing all the glass, and next we'll be upgrading the electrical to add lighting, which is currently missing. The display case is the first step in taking the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame on the road, bringing the inspiring stories of our inductees to other areas of the community. We are very excited to expand this initiative further into the future. And finally, last week, we had the honor of celebrating the class of 2024 induction, welcoming Marcel Gary, Milton Hart, Sandy Townsend, and Grace Wong into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. I want a special thank you to Chair and Councillor Michael Thompson and Councillor Rachel Gillinan for joining us. It was great to see both of you there. Our 11th annual induction celebration evening, which was presented by Geranium, took place at the newly opened Aurora Town Square. Over 200 guests enjoyed a memorable night filled with live music, delicious food and drinks, and a fun experience with a 360-degree camera. Each of these individuals have demonstrated outstanding excellence in their respective categories, whether as a coach or athlete, and we are thrilled to add them to our growing roster, now comprising of 50 remarkable individuals. We also had the pleasure of welcoming Angelina Chang and Connor Campbell, two exceptional youth athletes. Angelina is a golf phenom, and Connor is a world champion in karate. We're searching for the next 2025 class of inductees. Nominations for that class are now officially open, will be accepted until April 1, 2025. At last week's induction celebration evening, we were excited to announce the addition of two categories, one recognizing outstanding teams and the other celebrating individuals in media. We're currently updating our nomination materials and qualifications to reflect these exciting changes. Full details will be shared on our social channels in January 2025. Stay tuned. I'm excited to announce that our 12th annual induction celebration evening will take place on November 6, 2025. I extend an invitation to members, town council, Town of Aurora staff, and the entire Aurora community. Join us celebrating the achievements of the class of 2025 inductees. Mark your calendars for an unforgettable evening of recognition and community spirit. Chair Thompson and members of Town Council, it's evident that our organization has been hard at work in our community thanks to the constant support of our Hall of Famers and dedicated team of over 40 volunteers. By showcasing these events, we aim to highlight the immense effort involved in managing the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Our volunteers dedicate over 1,200 hours annually, contributing the equivalent of more than $35,000 in personal time and effort, alongside the financial investment necessary to sustain our programs, maintain our capital assets, and engage key professionals. This support enables us to continue evolving and managing one of the leading municipal halls of fame in the province while delivering a variety of exceptional event experiences, including one of our community's premier and annual celebrations. Much of which I've shared relies some level of financial assistance, which I'll outline in the next few slides. This will also include details about a project we've been collaborating on with staff over the years. The primary focus of our discussion tonight is to review our 2025 Town of Aurora operating grant request, totaling $31,725, along with an additional $20,000 request for the curatorial services grant. Town of Aurora support has been vital to the operations of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. These funds are strategically allocated across key areas, including communication and public relations, community engagement and outreach, and administrative expenses. Additionally, a portion is dedicated to curatorial services grant. We extend our thanks to Michelle Johnson and Jeremy Hood.
Once again, members, Councillor Gardner, Councillor Gilliland, all those in favor of extending? Thank you. Keep going, Kevin.
For their work in, thank you, for their work in managing our artifacts and curating the annual presentation of inductees. Their efforts have significantly elevated our brand presence, particularly at the Stronach Aurora Recreational Complex, the SARC. As a side note, the latest display featuring the class of 2024 inductees is now available for viewing at our hall located at 1400 Wellington Street East. The $20,000 investment from the town of Aurora underscores a strong commitment to advancing the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame as one of the leading community halls of fame in the region and potentially the province. We sincerely appreciate the town's continued support. We also recognize and value the consistency of the investment over the years, which remains subject to regular evaluation by town of Aurora staff. Earlier this year, town staff informed us about an exciting new project, the approved expansion of the Stronach Aurora Recreational Complex, home to the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. This project includes the addition of a multi-sport gymnasium, significant renovations to a large portion of the building. This expansion presents an incredible opportunity for us to enhance and modernize our space. Plans include updating wall displays, refreshing the overall brand design, and incorporating new technology such as an interactive wayfinder and monitor. These two tools will provide engaging information about the Hall of Fame, including videos and enhancements. These latter two technology components of this project have been funded through a successful provincial grant application, which also supported the design and development of our new website. Tonight, Brian and I are here to present an additional funding request for a small but essential level support from the municipality. We've already begun developing a plan to secure the majority of funding in additional to the small financial support we are requesting tonight. At this time, I'd like to invite Brian Roberts, President of Roberts & Company, and our esteemed treasurer to review our budget request.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of Town Council. Thank you, Javed, for the introduction. I appreciate the opportunity to present key financial updates for your consideration. To begin, I'd like to direct your attention to a handout that we provided, which outlines our 2023 financial statements. As at December 31st, 2023, our cash on hand was $73,295 with an additional GIC valued at $76,000. Furthermore, $52,193 is allocated to a deferred grant specifically designed for a capital project involving the development of a new website, wayfinder system, and a digital screen. In reviewing the town of Aurora's proposed reserve fund policy, which recommends maintaining no more than 1 year's operating expenses in the reserve, I'd like to highlight that our total reserves is $107,618. When compared to our 2023 operational expenses of $134,936, we remain well within the proposed policy guidelines of maintaining reserves equivalent to 1 year of operating costs. This demonstrates that the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame is adhering to strong governance practices and remains financially well positioned to ensure long-term success. It is important to also note that as a nonprofit charitable organization, our total fund balance functions similarly to a retained earnings of a profit organization. These funds allow us to continue to fulfill our mission while maintaining financial sustainability. So the next few slides, this slide is kind of a little bit smaller for you guys to read, but it's broken out in 3 pieces. The numbers remain consistent within the prior year, showing a marginal 2% year-over-year increase in both revenue and expenses. Please note that the 2024 figures are not yet finalized. The numbers provided reflect our approved 2024 budget. That said, during the year, we successfully executed another annual golf tournament and induction event. As in the past, our budget proposal includes a modest 2% increase. However, over the past year, we faced an average rise in expenses exceeding 8%, with some costs surging to as much as 30%. In response to the unexpected increase in costs, we've adopted a more strategic and focused approach to resource allocation, prioritizing, and carefully assessing which community events to support and invest in. With year-over-year increases in our overall budget and only a marginal rise in town support, our reliance on municipal funding continues to decrease. enabling us to become less dependent on the municipality. I'd like to highlight that our annual expenses, which totaled $111,000 in 2022, during which we received approximately $50,000 in support, represented about 45% of our budget. However, when you look at 2023, our expenses significantly increased to nearly $155,000, and we received approximately $51,000. This indicates that our reliance on the municipal support decreased to approximately 33% of our budget. As always, we remain committed to maintaining financial efficiency and fiscal responsibility in every decision we make as an organization. We've also budgeted $15,000 over a 2-year plan, allocating these funds from our capital reserve specifically for the Sark Ashoff project. However, it's important to note that the project is expected to incur significant expenses, estimated at over $55,000 over the next 3+ years. This creates a shortfall of approximately $40,000 in the coming years, which is why we are here tonight to request support from the municipality to help address this gap. We firmly believe the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame is well positioned to continue evolving into one of the premier Hall of Fames in the province. The planned updates and expansion of our space will support our growth for many years to come. From a sports tourism perspective, this enhanced space will perfectly showcase the remarkable achievements of athletes, coaches, builders, and moving forward, teams and members of the media who have contributed so much to our community. We look forward to the continued partnership with the town of Aurora, working together to build and raise awareness for our vibrant community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, may I have a motion to receive for information? Councilor Gallo, Councilor Kim, comments or questions to the presenters? Councilor Gardner.
Hi, through you, Mr. Chair. Could you tell me what the donation to the Celebrity Golf Classic means?
Who'd like to take it?
Sorry, where are you looking?
Mr. Roberts?
I'm looking under expenses, the 2025 Aurora Sports Hall of Fame budget.
So she's referring to the expenses for the
donation.
Celebrity Golf Classic.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. The donation is a portion of our proceeds that go to support a local charity.
Councilor Gardner?
Thank you. And with the 20,000 grant you get from the town, you pay for the curator.
Sure.
So I threw you, Mr. Chair.
Perhaps, would you like to say, would Ms. McDougall perhaps want to take that one? Just 'cause I know every year that one does come up in terms of the in and out of that expenditure. Ms. McDougall?
Certainly through you, Mr. Chair. Some council members may remember approximately 2018, 2019, there was a shift. Originally, the Sports Hall of Fame's grant from the town was closer to $50,000. Of that, $20,000 was paid for by the Sports Hall of Fame by hiring a contractor to deliver curatorial support. Alternatively, we negotiated knowing that we have our own curatorial staff in-house, and subsequently the 20,000 of their approximately 50,000 at that time was determined to be in kind, and it was versus writing a payment to ASHOP to then turn around and hire staff. The 20,000 was retained within the cultural services budget to deliver the services within our own staff complement.
Councilor Gardner?
Thank you. So, but that all adds up to about $50,000. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Councilor Gilliland?
Thank you. I'm just curious. I know that you have your line item for education, and that was a major component of your organization. And I was wondering if you could touch on what the educational parts that you had invested in for this year.
Javed?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes. So 3 components that we've invested in. We're launching our second volume of the Heroes of the Hall comic book series, which is coming out very, very shortly. Kristen is working through the final stages of that. We have gone into the retirement residence. So that's another part of the education program that Kristen and her team and volunteers have gone through. And the third component that she is working through for 2025 is to eventually get some of the tournaments that she had that were paused during the pandemic to bring them back.
Councilor Gilliland?
Thank you. And obviously you don't have everything for 2024 as far as your success rates. Do you have, as far as like your final budget numbers, what I mean, do you have anywhere in here where it shows where you've acquired, like obviously you got a lot of sponsorship dollars. You notice you had a lot of fundraising that you had done through presenting sponsors, which was a bit grander this year, and you had it at Town Square, which was great. Is there a line item here that's going to highlight that contribution to Sports Hall of Fame and your event, or is it just under fundraising? Because it looks like that number really hasn't changed year over year, but yet it seems that you had quite a bit of sponsors this year.
Mr. Roberts or Mr. Khan? Through you, Mr. Chair. Our fundraising line includes all our sponsorship that goes through for the two events. Now, Skillen?
Thanks.
Councilor Gardner, for the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Javed, I remember one year you coming and talking about the golf tournament, and I was afraid that you wouldn't get enough people to come out. But this looks like a very successful tournament. Do you have any idea how many people you had? And how did you get them out?
Gentleman right back there. Mike Smith has an incredible group of volunteers that he's put together. First year we had just over 100. Last year, I don't know the exact number, Mike, but just shy of 100. Yeah, shy of 100, plus the sponsors, plus all the supporters, plus Jim Lang, who donated his time. So it's Mike and Stu and the entire team's done a phenomenal job. So, and just so that we are clear, because we have been asked this question, why aren't you doing this at the two Aurora-based golf clubs? Mike and the team did ask before we did the first one, and it was made clear from both the golf clubs, both St. Andrews and Westview, that they just were not set up for the tournament, the type of tournament we wanted to put together. And they gave us their blessings, and so we went to Pheasant Run.
Yeah, I know that blessing.
Sure.
Yeah, I've had that blessing.
Yeah.
My husband used to play Pheasant Run, and so it's a lovely course. But how many people do you think you had there?
I think they said they just had under 100.
We had just over 100, and year two we were just shy 100.
Wow, that's only 100 people?
Yep.
25 foursomes.
25.
You're doubling up on some of the holes. So,
yeah.
Good job. Thanks.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none. Thank you both very much for being here this evening. Appreciate it. Councilors, if everyone's fine with it, we have one last presenter. Rather than take our health break, I'd like to just move through and finish off for the evening. No objections. Oh, sorry. Once again, clerk's keeping me on track here. All those in favor of receiving the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame? Thank you. Opposed? None. Perfect. Thank you. Next up, Stephen Forsey, Director, and John Reich, Treasurer for Sport Aurora. Welcome, gentlemen. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of council, town staff, and assembled guests. It is my pleasure to be here again tonight on behalf of Sport Aurora in order to make our request for funding for the upcoming Town of Aurora budget. In the last few months, I've been before you on a couple of occasions to describe the impact that we've had on our community. And the interest of brevity, I will try and move through this very quickly because a lot of this will be familiar to you. Through our 42 local sport organizations, our mission, as stated, is to build sport capacity, increase participation in sport and recreation, enhance integration processes, and celebrate excellence in sport delivery. In the next number of slides, I will elaborate on how the community will continue to benefit from what we are doing. As I mentioned, the mission statement, again, we want everybody from ages 4 to 80 of all genders, of all abilities, to continue to participate in the sports that we provide. In order to do that, it takes a team, and we have a few of the the team members here seated and with me at the mic to make the presentation. They willingly give their time, and we're grateful for that. 2024 was a very busy year for us. It was our 20th year, and we did everything from celebrating school athletes, the inaugural All Sport One Day program just for girls, our annual Breakfast of Champions, and the recently completed annual volunteer recognition event. We classify all of our programs under what we know as the pillar programs. The first one I'm highlighting is the annual School Athletes of the Year. This was our 8th year of doing this, and some of the pictures of the celebrations are included in the slide. I think I got that. Next is our All Sport One Day program. As I mentioned a few weeks ago when I was here, this is a great opportunity for kids to try something out new and see if they want to continue it as a sport. As I mentioned, this was the first year that we did the new all girls all sport one day program. Next in our pillar programs is the annual Breakfast of Champions. And I mentioned a few minutes ago about celebrating sport excellence. And this is our probably one of our best examples of that. And it's for athletes and teams that won provincial and or national championships in their sport. Next slide is to recognize individuals and that are the coaches, that are the stories behind this success and help make these things happen, and also some of the individuals that stood out as being very successful. Again, our 8th year on this one. The next slide there is the one that I'm most familiar with, and that's our annual sport volunteer recognition event. It's been running for 14 years now. This past year was our most widely attended. We celebrated 21 different sport organizations, and just a tremendous evening. I love hearing the stories. You all know that. It's just great to hear what the volunteers talk about in terms of what gets them going. And it's also very motivating actually for many of the others that are volunteers. So we continue to love to do that. We've provided a few numbers here on just some of the attendance that's happened at each of our events. And I think overall, over the number of years that we've been doing this, we're starting to see the numbers continue to move up. The other program that we started was 9 years ago was the All Kids Can Play program. We never want to see kids not be able to participate because of financial means. And so when this was done, this was to make sure that everybody had an opportunity and so that no kids are turned away. What you see here is some of the ways in which we get our message out through social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, some local media, and as well as a calculation on the number of hours that these individuals that are participating through our sport organizations, what that equate to. And it's rather significant, as you can see. I've spent most of my time here just in these last few minutes talking about how the community continues to benefit from what we do. I want to leave you with a couple of ideas on things that we're looking to the future in terms of how we can expand our capabilities, whether it's through a volunteer management database, which we think would be beneficial for a number of organizations, a sport concierge program, etc. At this point, I'd like to turn the podium over to our treasurer, John Wright, and he will elaborate on some of the financial.
Thanks, Stephen. Councilors, Mr. Chair, that's a pretty busy slide up there. I hope you've got an opportunity to look at it a bit more closely on your monitors. The 15 years that the Sport Aurora has been around, we've been able to maintain our level of service, mostly through grants, participation, Ontario Children Fund. This is our first request to the town for funding, and it comes as those other sources of funds have started to dry up and we can no longer count on them. You can see that our losses through 2022, 2023 were significant. We're looking at another significant loss for 2024, notwithstanding we received some very generous grants from private individuals, corporations, and support sponsorship. So we're here today to look for a way to maintain those pillar programs, those 5 programs that Stephen described, to make sure that those activities continue, that the community is continue to be served through recognition of the athletes, of the coaches, of the volunteers, and the Breakfast of Champions, of course, which serves our community, all of the local clubs, teams that have earned championships provincially or nationally. I don't know if I should go into any more detail. If you have questions, I'm certainly ready to address them.
Thank you. Councilors, motion to receive for information. Councilor Gardner, Councilor Gilliland, any comments and questions to the presenter? Councilor Gardner.
Thank you. Which funds did you say might be drying up?
Our OTF grants, our Ontario Trillium Fund grants, we've put in applications over the last 2 years and have been turned down for sustainability and for growth.
I'm sorry, and who does
Yes,
that grant come from?
Ontario Trillium Foundation.
Trillium. Thank you. I'm very glad to hear about the all kids can play. I noticed that you had an increase of, I believe, 3 people this year. But the money spent was substantially more. Is there a reason for that?
Mr. Wright, Mr. Forsyth.
Oh, through you, Mr. Chair.
We're looking at larger grants to the individual clubs to support the rising costs within their memberships. So as what we're looking to do is support a young person who has financial need, and as the club fees have gone up to join those clubs, our contributions have gone up commensurately.
Councilor Gardner.
So okay. Thank you.
Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. Thank you for what your organization does, giving kids the opportunity to play sports and being as inclusive as possible. It couldn't have been done without your organization's support in the community. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. And also congratulations to you, Mr. Forsyth, for your volunteer recognition this year. I'm sorry I did not make the presentation, but congratulations to you on that. And I really do appreciate how you do pull in the volunteers and give them that recognition, because the community does really rely on the community to build each other together. And that's, I think, a lot of the focus of what you guys are doing. So I really do appreciate that. I do appreciate your coming with these numbers, and it's pretty real. It's pretty raw. We can see how your organization has gone up and down over the years, and clearly everything's kind of come to a head, and that's why you're here today. So I do appreciate the numbers that you are presenting, and I do see that by this funding request, it will definitely assist a lot of children in sports. I guess my question through Mr. Chair to you as well is the cost you're saying going to the clubs. Have you recognized a large amount of inflation around the cost of sports just snowballing around the situation we're in for the type of fundraising that you need or assistance to these kids? Are you finding that's a challenge because of the rising costs?
Mr. Wright.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Councilor Gilliland, as you can expect, most of our member clubs are run as not-for-profits. Their own costs have increased remarkably over the last 2 or 3 years. So it's not surprising to see them try to pass some of those costs on to their membership in order to keep their clubs and activities going. We're very mindful of that, and we appreciate, despite all the volunteerism, that costs do rise. So when we see a request for funding that is $100 higher than the year before for a membership, it's not surprising. And we're glad to see these kids participate and see the clubs thrive and continue to grow.
Mr. Kelly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just my own experience understanding permitting costs for gyms and so forth. I know even for myself as a woman in sports, that our permit costs nearly doubled in schools. And so I can only imagine how that may have passed on to some other organizations and thus passing down to children again. And this, I would say this has occurred in the last couple of years. So I totally understand where you're coming from with this request. I really do hope that the town can assist you as much as we possibly can, but until the budget approval rate, we'll wait and see. So thank you.
Any other additional comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you both for being here tonight, and then thank everyone associated with Sport Aurora for all the good work you've done. Council, getting a motion to approve. Or sorry, a favor. It's getting long tonight here. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Council, that brings to a close. There are no other presentations. So can I have a motion to? Yep. Councilor Gallup?
I realize there's no new business, but I did have a question about scheduling and budget scheduling and.
Sure.
I understand that we won't necessarily have an opportunity, a public opportunity, to speak about the capital items. And I'm not sure if it was just me, but as we went through the budget and the budget tabs, I was under the impression that when those budget tabs came up, that we were discussing those specific items. Tab 16 has not come up. I'm under the understanding now that we should have brought those items up when the specific departments were speaking. Maybe it's my misunderstanding. I don't know if anyone else experiencing the same thing, but I think we need to make some time for us to be able to speak to the capital items from the various departments at some point before we pass the budget. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it to staff. I'll leave it to Mr. Mayor to figure out how to go about doing it. But I certainly cannot be approving a budget that I cannot speak to the capital items publicly.
Thank you, Councilor Gallup. Councilor Gardner.
Agree with that.
Okay. No further comments or question, then motion to adjourn. Councilor Gallup, Councilor Kim, all those in favor? Carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.